Shalom, Shalom, Amayash, Chazabaya, Dani Allah, and I'm here with
Malak Yeshua, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yashar Barakatah.
Shalom, Malakina, Yahweh Bashem Yashabaram.
Khan Yahweh Bashem Yashar Barakatam to everyone out there. So this is another Scripture Sunday that we're back with on Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes. Now we're going to be reading 4, 5, and 6. So bringing out 4 through 6. Before we go ahead and get started, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High. Give a salute to everyone out there doing the work, to the nation, and to our congregation. That we're going to go ahead and get started.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, and verse 1. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter, and on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Yea, better is he than both they, which hath not yet been, who hath not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I considered all travail in every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together, and eateth his own flesh. Better is an handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. Yea, he hath neither child nor brother. Yet is there no end of all his labor, neither is his eye satisfied with riches, neither saith he, for whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This is also vanity. Yea, it is a sore travail. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom become poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So what stood out to me was verse 4. Gone. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 4. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. So saying, again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. So he envied his neighbor, and that was vanity and vexation. So you don't want to envy your brother. You want to show him respect, and you want to be kind. So you need to not envy and be jealous to one another. Be happy for what you have. Be content. So that was all I had. What stood out to me.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be ready to hear, than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude of business. A fool's voice is known by multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou should not vow, than that thou shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at that voice? Destroy the work of thine hands. For in the multitude of dreams and many words there are also divers vanity. But fear thou God. If thou seest the oppression of the poor, and violent perverting of judgment, and justice in a providence, marvel not at the matter, for he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, there are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hands. As he came forth of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. And this is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart.
That was it on that one.
So it's a quote. So what the whole chapter was fire, but I'm just gonna just focus like what stood out to me were 19 and 20. So it's quote. So in verse 19 it says, "Every man also to whom God has given riches and wealth, and has giveth him the power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God." So every man that God has given riches and wealth, who has given power. So it's quote. So the daily necessities are bread, water, and a house, and called a house to cover, shame. Those are the needs to sustain, like to sustain your life, to live. It's called. And so what I really want to just talk about on just talk about for verse 19 is just the last part, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God. So to rejoice in your labor, to have happiness, called to enjoy the work that the Lord has put in front of you, to enjoy, whether it be to go, whether it be going out and working your job, whether it be doing housework, yard work, to rejoice in that labor, because the Lord has gifted you that, to call it, so, and live gift you that. And once you are done with that work, you feel satisfied with your work. So like for verse 24, he shall not much remember the days of his life, because our life is called because our life is like a vapor. As life goes by, it's called we forget some things. It's called ages. Our life is like a vapor. It can be just like with the snap of our fingers, can be gone. So this whole book is just a very powerful book. But those are the two things that really stood out to me.
Kolo.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 1. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men, a man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. Yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. If a man beget 100 children, and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, also that he have no burial. I say that an untimely birth is better than he, for he cometh in with vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This hath more rest than the other. Yeah, though he live 1,000 years, twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? For who knoweth what is good for man in this life? All the days of his vain life, which he spendeth as a shadow. For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? So that was it. 12 verses for chapter 6. Malak Enoch, could you scroll to verse 1? Baba Kasha Khan. So verse 1 of chapter 6 stood out to me, and this was the first verse that I read. It says, there is an evil which I have seen under the sun. We know the scripture and heard the scripture before that there is nothing new under the sun. We know how evil today's times are, but even back then, though, how evil it was. Back then, someone could get away with that evil, and only the Lord knows. But the scriptures say in the end times, it's going to be the worst it's ever been. So scratch off how bad it's been thousands of years ago, 100 years ago. In the future, it's going to be even worse, right? So I wanted to make sure I bring out that part because the Lord, of course, allows it. He could put a stop to it, but we know through the scriptures, he allows men that start wars, that are doing the evil, especially in, so-called 2025. There's a lot of rumors of war, and it's a very common topic, especially with people like Donald Trump that are just leading us into even more evil. So it's been seen. It's nothing new under the sun. What I want to say to that is just fear the Lord.
And I wanted to touch a little on that what you said earlier. Con, you said something about like you could hide you could hide things from man, but you can't hide things from the Lord. You can't hide anything from that. He knows your thoughts. He knows anything. You can't hide anything from him.
Yeah, back then when you could do something and get away with it, you're not really getting away with it with the Lord, but you might get away with it with their laws. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed the book of Ecclesiastes chapters 4 through 6. We hope you guys been enjoying it so far. Soaking up with this book is the message that it's putting out there, a lot of wisdom. We all brought out what stood out to us through the Spirit. Before we close out, we want to give all praises and glory to the Most High. And just this Bible continues to feed us. So I want to say Shalom and give a salute. Say Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Barakatham, Khan to everyone out there. And with that, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.